Well, good evening, everyone. My name's Dr. Annette Mercatant. I'm the current president of the St. Clair County Medical Society, and thank you all for coming tonight. Great leaders don't create followers. They create more leaders. Physician leadership is needed now more than ever, and with today's challenges, it's essential that physicians are directly involved in healthcare leadership to navigate a better way forward for both our profession and our patients. Dr. Bassam H. Nasr embodied these beliefs. Several years ago, he himself established the John Corey Award for Physician Leadership. And this award is a natural sequel to that. Dr. Nasr was a remarkable leader and served in many capacities in organized medicine, including our District 7 board member of the Medical Society. He was an AMA alternate delegate, and he was also a presidential nominee of the Medical Society. His willingness to serve is self-evident, but he also showed us the value of collaboration and listening. Dr. Nasr urged us in this community to develop the Women's Physician Group. And my last personal experience with him was at the 2019 House of Delegates, and we were having a conversation at the breakfast table, and I was mostly talking and he was mostly listening. And we were discussing the unique challenges of women in medicine. And after all the dialogue, his response was something along the lines of, "These conversations are so important, we need to keep having them." And these simple words of encouragement and acknowledgement of our lived experience as physicians made a real difference in keeping our local women's physician group active and meeting. So his support extended to so many things, even outside of medicine. I understand the family hosted a Christmas party for the International Club for many years, as well as supporting our local YMCA. We have many people with us today that have come to share their unique experiences and contributions of Dr. Bassam H. Nasr. And so with that, I'm just going to kind of call up our colleagues, our friends, and let them share with you their experiences. And we'll wrap up the presentation with the first annual award. So first to speak with us is Dr. Kavita Tuma. I'm both a professional and personal friend of Dr. Nasr's. Kavita.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Annette, for asking me to speak today, honoring Dr. Nasr at this first annual Bassam Nasr Distinguished Community Champion Award. I've known Dr. Nasr for the last 20 years. I moved into this town 20 years ago, joining his practice. He was my colleague, my business partner, mentor, and mainly a great friend. It's been almost 6 months that he passed away and has left a huge void in our community. If I can describe Bassam in just a few words, this is what I say. He was a visionary, a community leader, a philanthropist, and a passionate physician. With his vision, he has started the Physician Healthcare Network about 25 years ago. And he was the medical director and CEO for all these years. He worked very hard all these years to grow this into a multi-specialty organization and to provide comprehensive health care for all age groups in St. Clair County. He started different offices in this whole area. It started as a 3-person group, and slowly it grew into a 50 providers and almost 250 ancillary staff over the 10-year period after he started. He would, every year we used to have a Physician Healthcare Network holiday party, and we would all gather. He would be really gleaming with pride seeing all these people. Last year, the network has celebrated 25th anniversary. And Marcel, that was the first time we were not there. It was last month I was there. I can tell you it was not the same without him. And I know it'll never be the same. In general, Bassam had many interesting and creative ideas. For those who have ever had a one-on-one conversation with him, you would know what I mean. He always had grand ideas. He always thinks out of the box, unlike most of us. And as Dr. Gerard mentioned at the Lake Huron medical staff meeting, he said Bassam is a big dreamer, which is very true, and most of his dreams came true, not all though. Just to give you an example, the way Bassam thinks, about 10 years ago, we had to move into our new medical office building, and we had to name, he wanted to change our practice name. Previously, it was like GI Associates, like everything else, Cardiology Associates, the same name that everybody has. Then he thought for days, and then he comes up with this idea, Center for Digestive Disease. I looked at him and said, what center, Bassam? It's only two of us. And at a given time, there's only one of us in the office providing services, and we can barely meet the patient's needs. You know Bassam, right? He has a big smile and says, it's not like that. We're going to grow into a big group. We'll be 5-physician group. And we are going to provide this advanced tertiary care GI in Port Huron. And he goes on and on. One day it's going to be dedicated to inflammatory bowel disease. Another day it's going to be hepatology services. Another day it's going to be GI motility. By the way, we don't have any of this here. And then he goes on, and I just looked at him and I said, wow. Sure enough, we did name our practice as Center for Digestive Disease. Of course, the rest never happened, hopefully in the future. So this is how he visioned. He envisioned our practice as Cleveland Clinic of Port Huron. That's Bassam. He always thinks big. He has served in this community on many leadership roles throughout his career. He served as a president for St. Clair County Medical Society, I think about 15 years ago. He also served on the board of directors and various communities for the Community Foundation of the St. Clair County. He believed, as Annette just said, he believed women in leadership roles, and he was part of the Women Physician Initiative that he started he was part of it about 15 years ago. And to this date, we all meet regularly. He was chief of staff at Port Huron Hospital and served as a board member for 6 years. He was very involved in Michigan State Medical Society, and he was on the board of directors. He is AMA president or AMA delegate. I'm sure Dr. Answala is going to go over all of that today. He believed in philanthropy very strongly, and he generously contributed to this Bassam Nasr Science Museum during its expansion. And what a better place for us to be here to honor him today. He also was part of multiple local charitable foundations, including Blue Water Hospice and American Red Cross, to name a few. But most importantly, he was a full-time practicing gastroenterologist for 30 years. He went to medical school in Lebanon, and then he followed his dream coming to this country about 40 years ago. He did his internal medicine residency at Wayne State University, and then he went to Vermont to finish his GI fellowship for 2 years. He comes to Port Huron for a year, and then he goes back, and he went back and did another year of fellowship in nutrition. And that was one of his passions too. He had a pleasant demeanor and very, very calm personality. I've never seen him upset. I actually saw him upset being twice in the 20 years I worked with him, and that was bad. He was the office staff, hospital staff, everybody enjoyed working with him. And I think he's the only physician that I know who saw patients in our office at 11 o'clock at night. And the patients, probably they must have complained a little bit, but he never complained. His contributions to this community were significant and touched many lives along the way. I had the privilege of working with this distinguished man with so many accomplishments for the last 20 years. He was a great colleague, a role model for me, and this community, my office, and I will truly miss him forever. He was truly the champion of this community. Thank you.
Next, we have our representatives from the Michigan State Medical Society, the president and the president-elect. Gentlemen, here we go.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Mohammed Arsiwala. I'm the current president of Michigan State Medical Society. And this is very hard for me to stand here because Bassam Nasr and Marcel and their 4 kids, they know me that I've been a very close friend to Bassam, also in addition to my years of work in the legislative and advocacy work for the Michigan State Medical Society. And I want to thank Dr. Mercantante and Dr. Dilip Kumar for inviting me to speak a few words about Bassam. Bassam, as you know, was born in Lebanon and went to American University in Beirut, followed his residency and his fellowship in Vermont and Pittsburgh, then made Port Huron his home, actually. And since 1982, raised 4 wonderful boys and has been in this community as a pillar of this community. You can see Marcel and 4 kids sitting, and Hani, when his graduation was there, I was there for that. A few words to describe Bassam, as previously mentioned by Dr. Tuma, is he was just a wonderful, not only a great physician, a father, a husband, and a physician leader, and a great philanthropist. We are standing in a room that he envisioned today where he is. Now, Bassam was always full of life. He always was very quiet, but we had so many years. I have traveled with him to meeting after meeting, and Marcel attended a few meetings. Being on the board of Michigan State Medical Society and being a delegate and the American Medical Association, we give an opportunity to go around the country to different meetings. And Bobby will speak to you very shortly. He's being on the board of AMA. But we go around, and when we go, the favorite thing, I'll tell you a story about Bassam, is he loved me. I'm from Indian origin. I'm from South India. So every day on the 2nd or the 3rd day of the meeting, he would text me and say, how about an Indian food? So we made it a habit for the last 15 years, finding an Indian restaurant. And then Bassam would go there, and he was from Lebanon. And if you know, Lebanese people don't eat spicy food. But he would be sweating, and he would be wiping his brow. But yet he would order the most spiciest one. And I would tell him, Bassam, said, I get acid reflux. Being an Indian, I get acid reflux eating this spicy food. He says, don't worry. I'm a gastroenterologist. I can fix it all. Like Dr. Tuma said, Center for Digestive Diseases. So he was full of life, and we all loved him, and we all love him. And from my point of view, I will always carry his memories in my heart, and to be a friend to him and to be a friend to the family too. And it can show that the people around us today that are standing here shows a clear testimonial on what his love and friendship was towards all of you. I again want to thank all of you for listening to me, and I wish he's in a great place. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed, and thank you for having me and allowing me to participate in this event. I very much enjoy the opportunity to remember my friend Bassam and be in this room, which is just part of his ongoing legacy. So, as Mohammed mentioned, Bassam and I got to know each other at the Michigan State Medical Society, serving in its leadership at the board level. And just one thing that I learned early on is just basically I learned so much from his demeanor. Right? I mean, we all know in this room the nature of our being here is to fix problems within healthcare. And those problems have a tendency to take on a life of their own, and then they rile up our emotions, and we react viscerally to those things in a way that sometimes confounds our ability to fix them. But that's not what Dr. Nasr exemplified, right? So Bassam very much, in the face of that adversity, always approached it in a very calm, solution-minded manner, in a way that didn't aggravate those people that had the opposite sort of point of view. And it's a subtle skill. It's not one that can be taught, although he tried his best to teach me in his subtle ways. And I'm working on it. And also, as was mentioned, Bassam was also a leader within the American Medical Association. And that's basically what I see as my role here, is to share with you the impact he had in a relatively short time at the AMA. Very thoughtful leadership at a national level. These same issues are tenfold as emotional and tenfold as wrought with the bias of politics and backgrounds in those rooms of the American Medical Association debates. But yet he always, when he got to the microphone, had a way of diffusing tension at the same time as conveying his point. And his main legacy there, as I see it, I'll tell you a story about soon after he passed, we had our summer meeting, I think, in Chicago. And the foundation on whose board he served had an opportunity to ensure his legacy by creating a fund with his name on it. And we got to the microphone and basically announced that there was a matching gift available, and our goal was to raise $50,000 as the inaugural sort of endowment of the Bassam Nasr Fund within the American Medical Association Foundation. And it took no longer than 15 minutes to get the commitments to raise that $50,000, which is not a small feat in that room by any means, and it's just a testament to how much he was revered and respected in that room, that people were willing to make that commitment that quickly to honor his legacy there. In speaking of his legacy, I mean, this building, I learned a lot more about how to be a good community member from Bassam than probably the medical aspect of things. And seeing what he's been able to accomplish here along with his family, the legacy that is created here in Port Huron, as evidenced by our presence here, is something that I seek to emulate in my own Flint community, but have a long way to go. And so his mentorship, and then just seeing, I've seen these kids since they were probably about this tall, coming back and forth to meetings, and very much enjoyed watching them grow up. Learned a lot about how to raise my own twin boys by watching him with his. So thank you for letting him experiment on you in a way that benefits me. And we spent many hours together socially, professionally, hours that I will cherish, and it is just so fitting that his legacy is honored with us being in this building to remember his service to his community, to his patients, to his profession, and to his family. So thank you for allowing me to be here to share those memories with you.
As we mentioned, Dr. Nasr's reach went beyond the medical community, and we have with us tonight people from the St. Clair County Community College. I'm not sure who's coming up to speak. Dr. Snyder and Hedal. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm Deborah Snyder. I'm the president of St. Clair County Community College, and just want to welcome all of you to this wonderful space. And as I'm listening to folks that are talking about Dr. Nasr, I'm reminded of what a good human being he was, and what a role model for all of us that he really is. He was gifted, he was gracious, and he was very generous, as evidenced by everything in this room. So I just want to thank Dr. Nasr and his family for everything that you've done for this college. When I came here 50 years ago, I was just thinking this is 2020, and I was a student here in 1970, believe it or not, so now you all know how old I am. But this was a library, so when I took over almost 4 years ago and I saw this, I was just amazed, and I said, who made this possible? And Professor Suzanne Doherty told me that it was Dr. Nasr's dream, and she's been able to actually make it all possible. So what I'd like to do is just turn this over to Suzanne so that she can share some of her memories with you. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Snyder. I am Sue Doherty, and I teach geology here and physical science, and I've been the volunteer curator for the museum since its inception in 2008. And, I have to say that there were two really key people in bringing this about. Michael Sinchek gave us the fossils and the reproductions. Dr. Nasr recognized their value and gave them a home, a proper home, which you see here. And I think about the fact, that I was asked to say, I'm not sure if this is really appropriate because it's really about Dr. Nasr, but I was asked to say, what does the museum mean to me? And what it means to me, I have been privileged to witness the unfolding of a miracle in my lifetime. In 2008, All we had for a museum was a small table and a set of trilobite casts in the lobby. The rest of this first floor was empty except this room, Dr. Nasr's Natural Science Museum. This was filled with cabinetry and tables, unwanted bookshelves and old microscopes. It was a cluttered area. It was a storage room. And so when you look at what we had then and what we have now, it is a miracle. And it was just brought about by vision and by hearts that Dr. Nasr's heart, was oriented to service to the community without reference to personal gain. And I didn't know Dr. Nasr as well as I would have liked to. He was very quiet and very kind, but I felt that through all of these past 11 years that I had a friend. I just felt that. And his loss I felt very deeply too. But I am so happy that we have this, that we've named this after Dr. Nasr, the Nasr Natural Science Museum. And I'm so happy for that connection with him. Thank you.
And finally, we have some words from the Community Foundation of St. Clair County. I believe we have the president, Randy. Speak a few words. Thank you.
So no one here has talked about the other side of Dr. Nasr's work. So if you're over the age of 50, some of us might have seen him in a professional setting. I just want to share one comment he shared with me several years ago when he was talking about his philanthropy and his volunteerism. And it was really, he just wanted to teach his sons that they can make a difference in the community. They can do things through their passion and their time and their energy. Dr. Nasr lived it all the time. Generous of spirit, generous of soul. Not just the foundation, but the community and everywhere he went. He was just a kind person. It was an honor to be a part of it. And I think he's instilled in his sons that kind of spirit. And I think that'll live on forever with Dr. Nasr. So we're honored to be a part of it. We're honored to be a part of his legacy. And thank everyone for being here tonight. Thank you.
So thank you for all those words. I just keep going back to my comment that great leaders don't create followers, they create other leaders. And I really think that's the kind of leader Dr. Nasr was. As you can see, as you've heard, he understood the challenges and the potential of his colleagues, his patients, and his community. He believed in us. And because of that capacity, he inspired all of us to be better. He inspired all of us to do better. So we hope that providing an annual award in his name will not only carry his spirit into the future, but inspire all of us to be distinguished community champions. The Bassam H. Nasr Award is in honor of a healthcare professional who goes above and beyond to make St. Clair County a special place. And I just want to mention before we provide the award, there will be this beautiful plaque that will be hung in this space somewhere that will include the names of all the annual winners. So it'll always be here to remind visitors that Dr. Nasr's spirit continues. So this award will be fittingly presented posthumously to Dr. Bassam Nasr, to his family, Marcel, Andrew, Peter, and Paul, and our absent Hani. And if you want to come up, please, I'll present you with this award.
Hello, everybody. I just would like to say thank you to all of you on behalf of my family and of my dad. Thank you. And I cannot wait to see the impact that you all make in the year to come. Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you very much. So this concludes our award presentation. Please take a few more minutes to enjoy the amazing artifacts and all the community partners that are here sharing his memory. This is what Dr. Nasr helped create. The building does close at 8:30, and so we respect that time limit. And thank you all very much for coming tonight. Thank you. That is beautiful. Thank you. Nice. Thank you. Nice job.
Very nice, very nice. This is very nice of the whole, yes. Good job. It was, thank you. Thank you, take care. You're welcome. I just thought of that. This is one of my students. Not this one.